What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back to another episode of Thrash Reviews, where yours truly, Thrash Maniac 99, continues to review upcoming hard rock and heavy metal albums in the calendar year of 2016. And tonight I'm reviewing a huge album that came out today, October 28th. It is the newest release from legendary Bay Area thrash metal band Testament. For those who don't know, Testament is a thrash band that formed back in 1983, originally called Legacy, before changing their name to Testament thanks to the help of Billy Milano from SOD. And they made a huge impact on the Bay Area thrash scene with albums like The Legacy and The New Order and Practice What You Preach. The 90s material kind of went on a trend downward. Souls of Black was kind of the weakest of the first four albums. Ritual, however, was a monumental release. Low was kind of in that more kind of almost groove metal sound of Pantera and Prong and Sepultura to some extent. Then they had Demonic, which had a little bit of a death metal orientation to it. And then they kind of went back to their thrash roots with The Gathering, while incorporating a little bit of death metal and a little bit of groove metal. And that was an all-star lineup with Chuck Billy on vocals, Eric Peterson on rhythm guitar, James Murphy on lead guitar, Steve DiGiorgio on bass, and Dave Lombardo from Slayer on drums. Then after that album in 99, they went on a little bit of a hiatus, came back in 2008 with The Formation of Damnation. That was phenomenal. Then they had an album 4 years ago, Dark Roots of Earth, which to me was album of the year of 2012. Now they're back at it again with Brotherhood of the Snake. This is their 11th album. This is on Nuclear Blast Records. Let's take a look and see what the band had in store for us this time. We kick it off with the opening track, the title track, Brotherhood of the Snake. Kind of had that mid-tempo pace to it, but very thrash-oriented with the guitars, and as well as starting out with a little bit of blast beats from the great Mean Gene Hoglan. And this lineup is actually very unbelievable as well. You have Chuck Billy on vocals, Eric Peterson on rhythm guitar, Alex Skolnick on lead guitar, Steve DiGiorgio back out on bass, and Gene Hoglan on drums. This is probably the best lineup Testament has had since the late 80s, early 90s period, if you ask me. But this opening track certainly got things going in the right direction for the band. Lyrically talking about like people in a brotherhood, but being venomous at the same time. Hence, Brotherhood of the Snake. Simple as that. Next track I want to touch base on is Born in a Rut. Probably one of my favorite tracks of the album. It just has so much depth to it. It has this kind of almost Metallica Load Reload-esque structure to it, but with still that thrash element present. And lyrically pretty much talking about being a loner and not giving a crap. Something different for Testament songs, lyrically. Then we get to probably my favorite track of the album, Centuries of Suffering, one of the biggest thrashers of this album. Very unrelenting, fast and furious and brutal. And Chuck Billy on vocals just continues to blow my mind. And then on the following track does more or less the same with the song Blackjack. Lyrically, it's kind of paying in tribute to Lemmy from Motorhead, rest in peace. Lyrically dealing with gambling and death and risking your life. And a lot of blast beats on this track. And this was another great highlight. And then they even continued with different lyrical themes on tracks like Cannabusiness, which is all about celebrating the legalization of cannabis or marijuana and using it to help make business better, supposedly. And then the closing track, The Number Game, continuing that thrasher sound from tracks like Stronghold and Centuries of Suffering, and even Neptune's Spear was a pretty big highlight. Even Pale King and Seven Seals. Pretty much every freaking song on this album, top to bottom, was very well crafted. Songwriting was on point. It's almost like as if with this album, picture this if you will, top to bottom, this album just keeps punching you back and forth like mega fast, like as if you're getting punched, or like you're punching a speed bag. And, or, it's like every single track there's this crashing moment where, say, a NASCAR stock car slams a wall as hard as it possibly can. That's the kind of feeling you get with some of the parts within these songs. It just hits you out of nowhere. So top to bottom, this album, not a single bad song. This is arguably their best work since their comeback has happened. For me, it's kind of tough for me to put it above Dark Roots of Earth, but I'm going to. I felt this had a little more consistency behind it, in my opinion, and it just flows together nicely. The lineup did a phenomenal job on their instruments, and Chuck on the vocals. Wow. I thought Death Angel had the best traditional thrasher piece. Testament just blew them out of the water, if you ask me. 96 out of 100. Oh my god. It's like the feeling of this album's almost orgasmic. But that's not all for tonight, folks. Or better yet, maybe not 96. That's maybe a bit too high. I'll be more fair. I'll give it a 94. 94 out of 100 for Brotherhood of the Snake. I don't know. It's like I'm struggling so much with the rating. Actually, one final rating. I'll give it a 92. 92. Just so that way it's a little more fair for people to accept. So yeah, final rating, 92 out of 100 for Brotherhood of the Snake by Testament. But we're not done tonight. We got another big album to check out, and that's Avenged Sevenfold's The Stage. And that will be coming up next. Peace out, and stay tuned.